7 strange signs in your physical appearance that show your spiritual growth. Have you ever stopped to think that your inner journey might be reflected in your outer appearance? That the spiritual transformations you go through can leave visible marks on your body and in your presence? If you believe in God and feel that you are on a path of spiritual evolution, this video is especially for you. Before we dive into these intriguing signs, I want to invite you to reflect. Our physical appearance is not just a set of characteristics determined by genetics or environment. It is also a reflection of our essence, our connection with the divine, and the inner work we do day after day. When we draw closer to God and seek to grow spiritually, something magical happens. Our inner light begins to shine so intensely that it overflows to the outside, manifesting itself in subtle but noticeable changes. These signs that we're going to explore today are like small everyday miracles, gifts from God that show us we're on the right path, that our faith is strengthening, and that our connection with the divine is deepening. These are transformations that we don't always notice immediately, but that people around us begin to notice. If you feel that God has been guiding your spiritual journey, like this video as a way to spread this message to others. Your action can be the starting point for someone to recognize these signs in themselves and feel encouraged in their own journey. Now, let's dive into these 7 strange but wonderful signs that indicate your spiritual growth. Get ready to be surprised and, who knows, recognize some of them in yourself. The special glow in your eyes. The first sign we'd like to share with you is something that many consider mysterious and even a little strange. A special glow in the eyes. Have you heard the expression, "The eyes are the window to the soul"? Well, this phrase carries a deep spiritual truth. When we embark on a journey of spiritual growth, something extraordinary begins to happen with our eyes. They gain a different luminosity, a glow that seems to come from within. It's not something we can artificially create or fake. It's a genuine reflection of the divine light that begins to radiate from our soul. This glow is more than just a matter of physical appearance. It's as if God is lighting a flame within us, and that flame manifests through our gaze. People around us may notice this without even knowing how to explain what has changed. They simply feel that there's something different, something special in our eyes. But what causes this glow? It's the result of a series of internal transformations. As we draw closer to God, as we seek to live according to His teachings and open ourselves to His grace, our perspective on life changes. We begin to see the world with more love, compassion, and hope. This change in perspective is literally reflected in our gaze. Moreover, spiritual growth brings us an inner peace that is difficult to describe in words. It's as if all the worries and anxieties that previously clouded our gaze were gradually dissipating, giving way to a clarity and serenity that shine through our eyes. This special glow is also related to the joy we find in our walk with God. The more we connect with our spirituality, the more we experience moments of pure happiness and gratitude. These positive feelings manifest on our face, especially in our eyes, creating a contagious glow that people around us cannot help but notice. It's important to remember that this sign is not about vanity or superficial appearance. It's an external reflection of a deep internal transformation. It's God working in us and through us, allowing His light to shine through our eyes to touch and inspire those around us. If you've already noticed this special glow in someone's eyes, or if people have been commenting on a change in your own gaze, know that this can be a precious sign of your spiritual growth. It's a reminder that, as we draw closer to God, we become channels of His light and love to the world. A more upright and confident posture. The second sign we want to share might seem a little strange at first glance, but it's incredibly significant. A change in your body posture. Yes, you heard it right. As we grow spiritually, our physical posture tends to become more upright and confident. Now you might be wondering, how can my posture be related to my spiritual growth? The answer lies in the deep connection between our body, mind, and spirit. When we draw closer to God and grow in our faith, we experience an inner transformation that inevitably reflects on our exterior. Think for a moment. When we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, when we feel overwhelmed by worries and fears, How do we tend to carry ourselves? Usually our posture curves, our shoulders hunch, our head tilts down. It's as if we were physically manifesting the weight we feel in our soul. But when we hand over our worries to God, when we trust Him and allow His peace to fill us, something wonderful happens. We feel as if a weight has been lifted from our shoulders, and this is literally reflected in our posture. Our shoulders open up, our spine aligns, our head rises. It's as if we were physically opening ourselves to receive God's blessings and grace. This change in posture isn't just about looking more confident, although that's a welcome side effect. It's about carrying oneself with the dignity of someone who knows they are unconditionally loved by God. It's about walking through the world with the certainty that, no matter what happens, we are in the Creator's hands. Moreover, a more upright posture is also linked to a greater awareness of ourselves and our place in the world. As we grow spiritually, we develop a deeper sense of purpose and direction. We are no longer wandering aimlessly, but walking confidently on the path that God has laid out for us. This inner certainty manifests in how we physically carry ourselves. It's fascinating to note how this change in posture can affect not only how we feel, but also how we interact with others. A more upright and confident posture helps us communicate better, connect more easily with people around us. It's as if we were physically opening ourselves to the world, ready to share the love and light we receive from God. Of course, it's important to remember that this sign isn't about perfection or forcing a posture that isn't natural for you. It's about allowing the peace and confidence that come from God to manifest in how you carry yourself in the world. It's about carrying yourself with the dignity of a beloved child of God. If you've noticed that your posture has changed, that is occurring in your life. A more radiant skin. The third sign we'd like to share might seem a bit unusual when talking about spiritual growth, but it's surprisingly revealing. More radiant skin. Yes, you read that correctly. As we grow spiritually, we often notice an improvement in the appearance and health of our skin. Now, you might be wondering, how can my skin be related to my spiritual growth? The answer lies in the amazing connection between our spiritual well-being and our physical health. When we draw closer to God and live according to His teachings, we experience a peace and joy that have tangible effects on our body. Think for a moment. Stress, anxiety, and constant worries can have a negative impact on our skin. They can lead to breaks in the skin barrier, increased inflammation, and even accelerate aging. On the other hand, when we find peace in God, when we trust Him and allow His presence to calm our hearts, our body responds positively. The inner peace that comes from spiritual growth can help reduce stress, which in turn can lead to a decrease in cortisol production, the stress hormone. Less cortisol means less inflammation in the body, which can result in clearer skin, less prone to blemishes and irritations. Moreover, as we grow spiritually, we tend to make healthier life choices. We begin to see our body as a temple of the Holy Spirit, as the Bible teaches us. And this motivates us to take better care of ourselves. We might start sleeping better, eating more balanced meals, drinking more water, all habits that have a direct impact on the health and appearance of our skin. But it's not just a matter of physical habits. The joy and gratitude we experience in our spiritual journey can also be reflected in our skin. Have you heard that happiness is good for health? This is especially true when we talk about skin. When we're happy and grateful, our body releases endorphins and other well-being hormones that can improve blood circulation and give our skin a natural glow. It's important to note that this sign isn't about perfection or having flawless skin. Each person is unique, and our skin responds in different ways to changes in our life. What we're talking about here is an overall improvement, a glow that comes from within and that people around us can notice. This skin glow is more than just a matter of appearance. It's an external reflection of the inner light that grows as we draw closer to God. It's as if the peace, joy, and love we experience in our spiritual journey were literally radiating through our skin. If you've noticed that your skin looks healthier and more radiant lately, or if people have been commenting on a glow in your appearance, know that this can be a beautiful sign of your spiritual growth. It's a physical reminder of the inner transformation that is occurring in your life, a visible manifestation of God's grace working in you. Remember, however, that this sign, like all the others we're discussing, isn't about vanity or superficial appearance. It's about recognizing and being grateful for the surprising ways in which God works in our lives, transforming us from the inside out. If you believe that God is bringing transformations in your life, or genuine and frequent smile. The fourth sign we'd like to share is something that might seem simple, but is incredibly powerful: a more genuine and frequent smile. As we grow spiritually, we often notice that our smile becomes more natural, more spontaneous, and much more frequent. Now, you might be thinking, a smile. How can this be a strange sign of spiritual growth? The answer lies in the deep inner transformation that occurs when we draw closer to God and live according to His teachings. When we embark on a journey of spiritual growth, we begin to experience a joy that goes beyond external circumstances. It's a joy that springs from within, from the certainty of being unconditionally loved by God, of knowing that we have a greater purpose in our lives. This inner joy naturally manifests on our face through more frequent and genuine smiles. Think for a moment. When we're overwhelmed by worries, fears, or negativity, our face tends to be tense, our expression serious or concerned. But when we hand over our worries to God, when we trust in His plan for our lives, we experience a liberation that is reflected in our facial expression. Our face relaxes. Our lips naturally curve into a smile. This more genuine and frequent smile isn't something we force or fake. It's an authentic reflection of the peace and joy we find in our walk with God. It's as if the divine light growing within us was overflowing through our smile, illuminating not only our face but also the environment around us. Moreover, as we grow spiritually, we develop a greater gratitude for life and for everything God gives us. This gratitude naturally manifests in more frequent smiles. We begin to find joy in the small things of life, to appreciate the daily blessings that we might have previously overlooked. Each smile becomes an expression of gratitude, a way of recognizing and thanking God's goodness in our lives. It's fascinating to note how this more genuine and frequent smile can affect not only ourselves, but also the people around us. A sincere smile has the power to light up an environment, to comfort someone who is going through a difficult time, to create instant connections with strangers. It's as if, through our smile, we were sharing a bit of the light and love we receive from God. But this sign goes beyond the simple frequency of smiles. It's also about the quality of these smiles. As we grow spiritually, our smiles become deeper, more authentic. They are not just a facial expression, but a reflection of the joy we feel in our soul. People around us can notice this difference. They might comment that our smile seems more radiant, more contagious. It's important to remember that this sign doesn't mean we'll be smiling all the time, or that we'll never experience moments of sadness or difficulty. Spiritual growth doesn't exempt us from life's challenges. However, it gives us a different perspective, an inner joy that persists even in difficult times. This joy often manifests through smiles that emerge even amid tears, smiles that speak of hope and trust in God. Furthermore, this more genuine and frequent smile can be a powerful testimony of our faith. Without saying a word, we can communicate the peace and joy we find in our spiritual journey. Our smile can awaken people's curiosity, leading them to wonder about the source of our joy. This can open doors for us to share our faith in a natural and loving way. If you've noticed that you've been smiling more lately, that your smile seems more natural and spontaneous, or if people have been commenting on the joy on your face, know that this can be a beautiful sign of your spiritual growth. It's a visible reminder of the transformation that God is working in your life, an external manifestation of the inner joy that comes from a deeper relationship with Him. A renewed energy that's contagious. The fifth sign we'd like to share is something that many people find intriguing and even a bit mysterious: a renewed energy that seems to infect everyone around you. As we grow spiritually, we often experience a noticeable increase in our energy and vitality, which goes beyond the physical and extends to the emotional and spiritual. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to radiate a positive energy that attracts others? Why certain people enter a room and seem to light up the whole environment? Well, this can be a sign of their spiritual growth. When we draw closer to God and deepen our spiritual connection, something extraordinary happens. It's as if we're connecting to an inexhaustible source of energy. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 40:31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." This promise manifests in tangible ways in our lives. This renewed energy isn't just about having more physical vigor, although that can be part of it. It's a vitality that permeates all aspects of our life. It's an enthusiasm for life, a passion for our purpose, a resilience in the face of challenges. It's as if we were operating on a completely new level of existence. The most fascinating thing about this energy is that it doesn't stay confined to ourselves. It overflows, positively affecting the people around us. It's contagious in the best possible sense. People might feel energized just by being in our presence. They might notice a change in the environment when we enter a room. This contagious energy is a reflection of God's love and light flowing through us. As we grow spiritually, we become more effective channels for divine grace. We're not just receiving God's blessings, but actively sharing them with the world around us. It's important to note that this renewed energy doesn't mean we'll never feel tired or that we won't have moments of low energy. Spiritual growth doesn't make us superhuman. However, it gives us a source of strength and renewal that we can turn to even in the most challenging moments. This energy also manifests in a greater ability to face life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. When we face difficulties, instead of feeling defeated, we find strength in our faith to persevere. This resilience is noticed by people around us and can be a source of inspiration for them. Moreover, this renewed energy often leads us to be more active in our service to others. We find the strength and motivation to get more involved in our community, to reach out to those in need, to be a light in the world. This service in turn energizes us even more, creating a positive cycle of giving and receiving. If you've noticed an increase in your energy and vitality, if people have been commenting on how you seem more animated, or how your presence is invigorating, know that this can be a precious sign of your spiritual growth. It's a reminder of the transformative power that comes from a deeper connection with God. Remember, however, that this sign, like all the others we're discussing, isn't about comparison or competition. Each spiritual journey is unique, and the way this energy manifests can vary from person to person. The important thing is to recognize and be grateful for the surprising ways in which God is working in your life. A more serene facial expression. The sixth sign we'd like to share is something that might seem subtle, but is incredibly revealing. A more serene facial expression. As we advance in our spiritual journey, we often notice a change in our habitual facial expression. Our face begins to reflect an inner peace that comes from a deeper connection with God. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to carry an aura of calm, even in stressful situations? How their faces seem to convey a peace that goes beyond understanding? This can be a sign of their spiritual growth. When we draw closer to God and allow His peace to reign in our hearts, this inner peace begins to manifest externally. The Bible speaks about this peace in Philippians 4:7. "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This peace isn't just an internal feeling, but something that becomes visible in our appearance. The more serene facial expression doesn't mean we'll always be smiling, or that we'll never show other emotions. On the contrary, it's a serenity that persists even when we express a variety of emotions. It's an underlying calmness that people can perceive in our face, regardless of the situation we find ourselves in. This serenity manifests in various ways. It can be in how the expression lines on our face soften. It can be in the way our eyes seem calmer and more focused. It can be in how our forehead appears less furrowed with worry. It's as if the marks of stress and anxiety were gradually being replaced by an expression of peace and contentment. It's fascinating to note how this more serene expression can affect the people around us. In moments of tension or conflict, our calmness can help soothe others. In situations of uncertainty, our serenity can inspire confidence. It's as if we were silently conveying the message, "It's all right. God is in control." This facial serenity can also be a powerful testimony of our faith. Without saying a word, we can communicate the peace we find in our relationship with God. People may be drawn to this peace, curious about its origin. This can open doors for us to share our faith in a natural and loving way. It's important to remember that this serenity isn't something we can force or fake. It's a genuine reflection of the inner peace that comes from spiritual growth. It's the result of handing our worries over to God, of trusting in His plan for our lives, of finding our identity and worth in Him. Moreover, this more serene expression doesn't mean we'll never experience moments of worry or stress. Spiritual growth doesn't exempt us from life's challenges. However, it gives us an anchor, a source of peace we can turn to even in life's storms. This peace is reflected in our facial expression, even in difficult moments. If you've noticed that your facial expression seems calmer and more serene lately, or if people have been commenting on how you seem more tranquil, know that this can be a beautiful sign of your spiritual growth. It's a visible reminder of the peace that God is bringing to your life, an external manifestation of the inner transformation that is taking place. A more welcoming and compassionate presence. The seventh and final sign we'd like to share is something that many people find intriguing and deeply impactful. A more welcoming and compassionate presence. As we grow spiritually, we often notice that our way of interacting with others and being present in the world changes significantly. We develop a presence that seems to naturally attract people, making them feel accepted, understood, and loved. Have you ever met someone whose presence seemed to instantly calm and comfort you? Someone with whom you felt safe to be yourself, without judgments? This quality of presence is often a sign of deep spiritual growth. When we draw closer to God and allow His love to transform our hearts, we begin to see others through God's eyes. We develop a deeper compassion, a greater capacity for empathy, and a willingness to welcome others exactly as they are. This inner change manifests in our external presence in powerful ways. The Bible teaches us in 1 John 4:19, "We love because He first loved us." As we experience God's unconditional love more deeply, we become more capable of extending that love to others. This is reflected in how we carry ourselves, how we speak, how we listen, and how we interact with people around us. This more welcoming and compassionate presence manifests in various ways. It can be in how we listen to others with full attention, without judging or interrupting. It can be in how we respond with kindness, even in difficult situations. It can be in how we extend compassion to those who are suffering, or how we genuinely celebrate others' joys. It's fascinating to note how this welcoming presence can profoundly affect the people around us. People may naturally be drawn to us, feeling safe to share their struggles and vulnerabilities. We may become a safe harbor for those going through difficult times. Our presence can bring comfort and hope to situations that seem hopeless. This quality of presence can also be a powerful testimony of our faith. Without needing to preach or convince, we can demonstrate God's love through our actions and attitudes. People may see in us a reflection of divine love and grace, awakening in them a desire to know the source of this love, of a heart transformed by God's love. It's the fruit of the Spirit manifesting in our lives, as described in Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Moreover, this welcoming presence doesn't mean we'll always know exactly what to say or do. Spiritual growth doesn't make us perfect or omniscient. However, it gives us a willingness to be present with others, to offer love and compassion even when we don't have all the answers. If you've noticed that people seem to feel more comfortable around you, that strangers tend to open up to you, or that friends often seek your support and presence, know that this can be a beautiful sign of your spiritual growth. It's a reminder of God's love flowing through you, touching and transforming lives around you. As we come to the end of this exploration of the 7 strange signs in your physical appearance that show your spiritual growth, it's important to remember that each spiritual journey is unique. You may recognize some of these signs in your life, all of them, or perhaps none of them yet. The important thing is not to compare your journey with others, but to recognize and be grateful for the work that God is doing in your life. These signs, the special glow in your eyes, the more upright and confident posture, the more radiant skin, the more genuine and frequent smile, the renewed energy that's contagious, the more serene facial expression, and the more welcoming and compassionate presence are all external reflections of a deep inner transformation. They are visible manifestations of God's grace working in our lives. Remember, spiritual growth isn't about perfection or about reaching a certain level of spirituality. It's an ongoing journey of drawing closer to God, of allowing His love to transform us from the inside out. It's about becoming more like Christ every day, reflecting His light and love to the world around us. If you recognized some of these signs in your life, celebrate. Thank God for the work He's doing in you. If you haven't recognized any of these signs yet, don't be discouraged. Keep seeking God, trusting that He is working in your life, even when we can't immediately see the results. Always remember that the ultimate goal of spiritual growth isn't the change in our physical appearance, but the transformation of our heart and character. These physical signs are just external reflections of a much deeper and more significant internal reality. Now, I'd like to invite you to a final reflection. How have you perceived your own spiritual growth? What changes, whether physical or not, have you noticed in your life as you draw closer to God? Share in the comments your experiences and the impact of these spiritual signs in your life. Your story can be a source of encouragement and inspiration for others who are on their own spiritual journey. Remember, every small change, every step towards God is precious and worthy of celebration. Don't underestimate the power of a more genuine smile, a brighter look, or a more welcoming presence. These are the ways in which God's light shines through us, touching lives and transforming the world around us. May we continue to grow in our faith, allowing the inner beauty that comes from God to manifest in our outward appearance. May our lives be a living testimony of God's love and grace, attracting others to experience this same transformation. Before we close, I'd like to leave you with a Bible passage that beautifully summarizes what we've discussed today. In 2 Corinthians 3:18 we read, "And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into His image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit." This passage reminds us that as we turn to God and contemplate Him, we are transformed. This transformation is not just internal, but is reflected externally, with ever-increasing glory. It's an ongoing process, a lifelong journey of becoming more like Christ. May we embrace this journey of transformation, allowing God's glory to shine through us in increasingly visible and impactful ways. May our physical appearance become a living testimony of the wonderful work that God is doing in our lives. Remember, you are unconditionally loved by God, exactly as you are. But He loves you too much to leave you as you are. He is constantly working on you, molding you into the image of Christ, and this is reflected in surprising and beautiful ways in your physical appearance. May you continue to grow in grace and knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. May your light shine ever brighter, attracting others to experience God's transforming love. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you were touched or inspired by this message, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your actions help spread this message of hope and transformation to more people. Until the next video, may God bless you abundantly.